In March 2009, a scandal of twisted darkness surpassing even the DD case shook South Korea's entertainment industry to its core. Rising actress Jang Ja-yeon, known for her role in Boys Over Flowers, was found dead, leaving behind a chilling 230-page letter. Welcome to True Crime Story for You Chanel. Hit subscribe now. Uncovering such profound darkness can't happen without your participation and support. But this wasn't just another tragic celebrity death. It was a full-blown exposé of unimaginable darkness. In her final words, she courageously named 31 powerful individuals, men with vast wealth and status, who she claimed had subjected her to years of relentless abuse and exploitation. What made the case even more shocking was that these men weren't limited to the entertainment world. Jang's letter named prominent figures from finance and business circles, including a father-son duo who headed a major corporation. The older man was in his 80s, and his son in his 50s, yet together, they allegedly wielded their power to satisfy twisted desires with a complete lack of remorse. The blood-chilling details of their actions, as described by Jang, left readers horrified. Jang Ja-yeon's death didn't just reveal a personal tragedy, it unearthed an industry-wide scandal beyond imagination. The people named in her letter were influencers across various industries, each with a spotless public image hiding deeply disturbing secrets. Her brave accusations left the public questioning how many more dark truths were buried beneath the glitz and glamour. This bears a striking resemblance to the DD case. Both victims suffered oppression and exploitation from powerful figures. In Jang Ja-yeon's letter, she meticulously described the misconduct of 31 influential individuals, while the victim in the DD case also left behind detailed accusations, casting a spotlight on the deep-rooted darkness lurking behind the entertainment industry. In her final, haunting letter, exposed the entertainment industry's darkest side, turning this tragedy into one of the most shocking scandals ever revealed. Her story quickly ignited public anger and sympathy across the country. Jang Ja-yeon once lived a happy life, but it all changed after a tragic car accident took her parents. Suddenly alone, her relatives immediately tried to seize her parents' entire estate, leaving her without family or financial support. At just 16, she was forced to navigate the harsh world alone. Hoping to find a new path, she entered the entertainment industry, using her charm and beauty to build a career. At first, it seemed like luck was on her side, landing her a position in a small entertainment company. But this soon proved to be the beginning of a nightmare. After just a few training sessions, her manager escorted her to luxury stores for high-end clothes and accessories. Jang Ja-yeon thought she was heading home, but instead, she was driven to a hotel, where for 2 harrowing hours, she was by her manager and his powerful friends. The horror didn't stop there. A media executive recorded the entire incident and used it to blackmail her, threatening her with punishment from the company if she refused his further demands. Soon, other staff members began noticing the aftereffects of these encounters, recalling times when they had to dispose of disturbing evidence after certain meetings, or when they saw her limping in pain after leaving rooms. Jang Ja-yeon soon realized that in this world, talent and beauty weren't enough to keep her safe. To survive, she would have to sacrifice far more than she'd ever imagined. Between 2005 and 2009, the life of actress Jang Ja-yeon was completely consumed by darkness. Behind the glamorous facade that the public saw was a world of suffering that she silently endured. She was forced to entertain and serve the whims of 31 powerful men, figures whose public images masked their merciless natures. Over 4 years, she was subjected to, more than 100 times, with one horrific instance involving 4 people simultaneously. Such experiences, as she documented, were unimaginable. The entertainment company she was signed to became nothing short of a haven. The first floor functioned as a bar, while the third floor turned into a private venue for special guests, a cage from which she had no escape. Her handlers not only exploited her, but also forced her to use stimulants, breaking down both her physical and mental state. To these powerful men, Jang Ja-yeon was nothing more than a tool to fulfill their twisted desires. In the most chilling turn of events, she became pregnant without realizing it, and yet was still coerced to continue, serving those men, ultimately leading to the tragic loss of her baby. Her agony was met with cold indifference. They showed no empathy for her pain. She attempted to escape this nightmare several times, only to face brutal consequences, being dragged back and left even more broken. Desperate, she reached out to the law, hoping for some relief. Yet, reality proved even harsher. Those entrusted with upholding justice instead responded with, and vulgar insults, further shattering her faith. No matter how she struggled, the powerful circles around her dismissed her pleas. She was even forced to comply with their demands on her parents' death anniversaries, with no one heeding her desperate appeals for mercy. Each day, she felt trapped in a hell from which there was no escape. Physical suffering was only part of it. What destroyed her even more was the loss of her dignity, the shattering of her dreams, and the void left where her hope once was. At night, she would return alone to her dark, empty room, drowning in loneliness and despair. After her death, the 230-page letter Jang Ja-yeon left behind was made public, exposing every ordeal she had suffered. This letter was like her final scream, with each word carrying the weight of her untold pain. Excerpts from her letter revealed the anguish she bore deep within. They said that if I became better at understanding men, I would become famous. Every time I got new clothes, it meant there was another to entertain. These meetings weren't just in Gangnam, they happened in karaoke bars in Suwon and elsewhere. Even on my parents' memorial days, they forced me to keep entertaining. Jang's words unmasked the cruel reality of the entertainment industry. For young women like her, refusing to comply with company demands meant losing any chance of a career. In her letter, she painfully described the sacrifices she had to make for success. I didn't want to be with him or any of them. I didn't know he would film me, but once I was caught, there was no way out. In her suicide letter, Jang Ja-yeon named 31 powerful figures who had abused her, but this information wasn't immediately made public. It wasn't until 2 years after her death, in March 2011, that Korean broadcaster SBS began releasing parts of her letters. At first, these letters were simply presented as her goodbyes to friends before her passing. What was initially dismissed as Jang Ja-yeon's simple farewell letters held much more than goodbyes. Over 50 handwritten notes surfaced, each word cutting into the darkest secrets of South Korea's entertainment industry like a razor. They outlined specific times, locations, and the identities of those involved, igniting public outrage. The details were so raw and precise that people couldn't help but wonder, could these letters really be true? Or was there an even darker twist to this story? In an attempt to verify the authenticity, the Korean Institute of Science analyzed the handwriting, only to discover it wasn't Jang's. But things took an even stranger turn when police found a convict's cell filled with case clippings. This inmate confessed to writing the letters but insisted on their truthfulness, claiming he had only fulfilled Jang's last wish to reveal the truth and seek justice. How did a stranger know such disturbing specifics? The mystery grew even deeper. Public interest began to wane until Dispatch, a prominent Korean media outlet, breathed new life into the case in March 2019 with a shocking revelation. These letters weren't Jang's suicide notes, but rather a desperate plea to escape her company's grasp. The revelation shocked the public. According to Dispatch, Jang was caught in a legal crossfire between her agency and actress Lee Mi-suk, who was also under the same management. When Lee faced a lawsuit for breaking her contract, Jang was allegedly pressured to create a list of her own humiliating experiences as proof in Lee's defense. This list, meant to be confidential, ended up spanning 6 pages and recorded every harrowing encounter she endured. But hours before her death, it was leaked, becoming the final breaking point in Jang's life. In addition to Dispatch, another shocking revelation came in March 2019 from South Korea's well-known investigative show, PD Handbook. They exposed the unimaginable extent of control that CEO Kim had over Jang Ja-yeon, describing how she was essentially groomed into a financial slave. Kim allegedly went as far as forcing her to undergo sterilization, just to ensure there'd be no accidental pregnancies. This became a lifelong scar, pushing her mental health to the breaking point. Many people wondered why she didn't just escape. But the brutal reality was that she was trapped in a binding, exploitative contract that kept her under her management's thumb. During this time, she dated Fae Chu, a Chinese musician known for his gentle nature. Fae Chu did his best to help her, even attempting to negotiate her release from the company. However, the breach of contract fee was an outrageous $7.2 million, a price neither of them could afford. Under immense pressure, Fae Chu was eventually forced to leave South Korea, hoping to find new opportunities back in China. When Jang's case became public, Fae Chu initially pledged to return to Korea to testify on her behalf, even going as far as posting about it on social media. But, shockingly, he disappeared without a trace. Months later, he resurfaced in China, now denying any association with her. This abrupt shift led to widespread speculation that someone powerful, someone named in Jang's accusations, may have forced him into silence. Dispatch dropped yet another bombshell. In 2011, during the first court hearings, it was uncovered that several powerful officials had written checks to Jang Ja-yeon. But prosecutors claimed these payments were merely for meals, dismissing any notion of illegal transactions. Those checks, which could have been critical evidence, were quickly brushed aside. The case then hinged on Fae Chu's testimony, but his absence halted everything, leaving justice painfully out of reach. Finally, in 2013, after years of court proceedings, the verdict was announced. Despite countless suspicious details, the officials and corporate moguls implicated in the case were all acquitted due to insufficient evidence. Only Jang's agency president and her manager were found guilty, simply for using force when she requested a contract termination. Their punishment? A mere 1-year prison sentence, and a pitiful $17,300 fine paid to Jang's family. This slap-on-the-wrist outcome sparked a massive backlash in South Korea, especially within the entertainment industry, which has long grappled with scandals of abuse and exploitation. The public couldn't help but wonder, in a world where wealth and influence can bury the truth, does justice even stand a chance?